Don't forget your wilderness days. Don't forget your wilderness days. Before you became this big man of God, those friends that you were fasting together, hey, now you are big. But don't be quick to break that place because you want to prove that you're a big man. You will get lost without remedy. You should remember all the way which Lord your God led you these 40 years in the place, to humble you, to prove you, to know what is in your heart, whether you will keep his commandment or not. Meaning that your wilderness days is not a waste. Don't mourn it. The experience, the pain of when you have to wait to see answers is important. Keep it as a memorial. So that when you start feeling bigger than you remember where God took you from. Do you still remember where God took you from? Do you still remember the season that what you have now was a prayer point? The season that you look at a day like today and you never really thought it could happen. More is not bad. But once it detaches you from the memory of the wilderness days, it will destroy you. Grow old, but don't lose your childlikeness. Remain that baby before God. One who trembles at iniquity. One who fears. Lift your hand, say, I remember. Do you no, let me ask you, do you remember? Now let me ask you, do you remember? Do you remember where God picked you from? Do you remember? I do. I always remember. And when I remember, my heart trembles. That's why I share this story. In fact, you start knowing that you have problem when you start denying your own stories. Last year, Sphere of Light Church was not like this. The day we have 20 people on a Sunday morning, that's a blessing. And we come down on the street of Wuye, and myself will be walking and praying. God, we know you sent us here. When things begin to happen, I will not forget the consecration of those days. Anything can grow, but I'm still that child. Let God open the door of how many nations? I am still that child you found. If you master this principle, there's no door that won't open to you. God will be able to trust you much more. When people start becoming big, they start trimming off the voice of correction from their life so that they can do what they want to do. Don't be like that. Now, he said, to know what is in your heart, whether you will keep his commandment or no. Now, look at verse 3. Quickly, media. And he humbled you, and suffered you to hunger, and fed you with manna, which you know not, neither did your fathers know, that it might make you know that man does not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Meaning that your wilderness days was a school. It was a school where God wants to know that the most important thing you live with is the word. I beg you. I beg fathers. I beg mothers. I beg young boys. I beg young girls. I beg those who are divorced, those who are about to think. There are consequences. The moment you choose a direction, you can no longer stop the consequence. There are consequences. Ultimately, God is the lifter of men. Nobody can lift anybody. Only God, who sees the intent of the heart, does. If we live that life that is pure before him, he will in no time lift us. And even if it doesn't, yet we will not deny him. There are consequences. The day I stood at the altar with my wife, and they said, do you accept this woman as your lawful wedded wife, to hold and to cherish, to love and to do all that till death do you part? And you said, I do. That's not a small word. There are consequences to that statement. When you say I do, stay by it. There is grace. I said there is grace. Let me say this to you. Attraction is about focus. If you focus on your spouse, you'll become many things to you. If you cannot lust after another woman unless you have stopped seeing your own spouse. Unless you get to the point that when you look at your spouse, you no longer see her. That's why I like to ask the question, do you still see your spouse? When you look at your wife, do you see her? Do you sometimes take your phone and stare at the picture of your own wife, not the picture of another girl? Do you check your wife's status and gosh the pictures? Oh, thank God for my wife. If you were not married to that, your wife, and she was that girl and still looking like this, you might have lost it after her. Lost is not about the person, it's about you. If you don't deal with it, you can lust after a mad woman. It's not about the person. You are lusting not because the person is fine, but because there's a weakness there. Oh yes. When you look at your spouse, what do you see? Nothing is small unless it is compared. Nothing. There's no woman in this church, take it to the market, that is as beautiful as my wife. Argue with your eyes. I speak as a man about my territory. What you say is your business. Say, Apostle, I'll prove it to you. I'm finer than your wife. You are a Jezebel. Go and be fine in front of your own husband. The moment you say, yes, I do. You know, in the East, when you serve your boss, they settle you. Huh? That woman, God has settled you. There's nothing you are doing serving again. Leave the market. Yeah, settled you. Go and start your own shop. This is my settlement. It's done. All right? No, it's the truth. There's nothing you are looking for in the market again. Once you say I do, break the antenna. Lose the ability to pick signals again. Let me tell you this. You can either be a good husband or you are hotspot. Hotspots that you can connect multiple Wi-Fi to. Shut your hotspot down. Stop connecting anyhow. You see virus, you connect. There's nothing that is more dignifying than a life of integrity. Integrity is sweet. And God will keep you.